Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's definitely a 2-scoop energized morning, but let's face it, most mornings are 2-scoop energized mornings. Came downstairs, I call it opening the house, and let the dogs out, fed the dogs, got my diffusers going, and lit my candle from Utah, and it made me think of something that I wanted to share with you this morning, something that was kind of sitting on my head and my heart that sort of popped out this morning when I lit that candle. Good morning, happy Tuesday. You might know that I was in Utah this past weekend speaking to a group of Beachbody coaches out there. And while I was out there, Josie, my daughter, and I had some time to go up to the Sundance Resort and have lunch. And while there, of course, I went into the shop, of course, and bought this amazing candle. And when I was lighting this candle this morning, I was thinking about what I had shared with the coaches on Friday night and how it has sort of been, I don't want to use the word brand, but my platform, for lack of a better word, for a long time. And I think it's important to note too, whenever I share anything, whether it's on IGTV or Instagram or social media or in a talk or on a mastermind. I did these amazing one-on-one masterminds with my coaches yesterday. Whenever I'm sharing something, it is generally because I've walked through it, I've been through it, I've lived through it, I've had other people go through it, and I don't have all the answers, but I might be a little further down the road than someone else. I'm older, my kids are older, I've been a coach for almost 12 years, I've been in fitness for 19, and there's a lot that I've seen and done. I've had some really amazing, blessed to have some really amazing, incredible life experiences, and because of that, when I share something, it 100% comes from life experience. And so I was sharing on Friday night with these Utah coaches, and it's not specific just to them. It came to me, I think, because when I was lighting that candle this morning and thinking about how much I enjoyed spending time out there, that what I shared with them, what we talked about, is so universal. I think I just have a bigger platform sometimes to talk about it, specifically with Beachbody coaches, women who are building a business. And this piece that I shared with them was the idea of mom guilt. And I think it was surprising to some of them because when I started talking about it, and my daughter was there with me too, so she even got to address a little bit of it as well. But when I started talking about it, the first piece that I shared was mom guilt is made up. So I'm sharing that with you this morning because I have a feeling that there are women out there who need to hear it. And I need to share it more often. But I want you to understand that this idea of mom guilt, I don't care what the media tells you. I don't care what your mother-in-law or your mom or whoever tells you. I believe that mom guilt is something we have made up, we have fabricated in the last few years. And I believe that because not one time when I was growing up, not one time did I ever hear my mom talk about mom guilt. I never heard one female in my life talk about this idea of mom guilt. This is a term that I have only heard come up in conversation in the last, I don't know, what even, like 10, 15 years? I really believe this is a concept and a phrase and a mindset that we have made up. And I believe, and I'm still sort of working this out in my head, but I believe we made it up because for a lot of different reasons, but there is a piece of it. For a lot of different reasons, we have made up this idea, this mindset of mom guilt. But somewhere in there is a fear of what our potential really is. Somewhere in there is a fear of who we could become, what our potential is, and how much greatness that we have in us as females, as a female species, that we've fabricated this idea of mom guilt as a way to not tap into that fear and then to not step into who we can become. I know that's deep on a Tuesday morning, but what I really want to share is, at its base level, is this idea of mom guilt being something that we have fabricated, we have made up. And I believe that so strongly because I'm watching these 3 daughters that I have raised while building a multi-million-dollar business, while teaching fitness classes, before that, teaching high school. I've watched them turn into these incredible humans. It's really so mind-blowing how amazing they are. While I sometimes missed events, while I wasn't at every practice, while I traveled, while I built this business, I've watched them grow into these amazing humans because of the opportunities that I could provide for them because of the business I was building. If I would have let this fabricated notion of mom guilt hold me back, which is not to say sometimes it does not, if I would have let it to the point that I didn't build my business, my daughters would not be the humans that they are growing into today because of the experiences they've had because of this business. Does that make sense? It's a lot on a Tuesday morning. I understand that, but I was so passionate about it when I was talking on Friday, and it made me realize how many women out there succumb to this idea of mom guilt. And I think it's because we're just so scared to tap into who we can become that we're like, well, I'm just so guilty about leaving my kids. No, you're just so fearful about how great you could become, about how great you could become, about the potential that lives in you. So you use these children who really deserve a mom living up to her potential, so they see that they can live up to their potential too. You use them as an excuse to not tap into your greatness rather than as a reason to tap into your greatness because you feel guilty about doing that. And what we teach, and I'm talking to moms of daughters especially, what we teach our daughters when we hold ourselves back is that they too should hold themselves back. And then we perpetuate that idea generation after generation after generation. What possible good does that do anyone, not just in your own home, but in the world? I believe the ideas of mom guilt is something we have made up. I grew up in a tiny town where no female was an entrepreneur of any kind. Very traditional family, very traditional small town. My parents had my brother and sister who are twins very young. My dad was in the military, then became a civil engineer. Had my brother and sister when they were very young. They thought they were done having children, and then, surprise, there's me. So they had me when they were much older, which meant my childhood was different than my brothers and sisters, but it was still very traditional. And I mean this in the best possible way, a very patriarchal childhood. My dad went to work, my mom stayed home. Every female in my life was a teacher or a nurse, and you know, yes, sometimes they worked outside the home. My mom did not, but not one time in the entire time that I was raised did I ever hear the term mom guilt. My mom would travel with my dad if he had a business meeting. Sometimes she would, go to lunch, be a lady who lunched or whatever. But if she was gone, there was never any, well, I feel so guilty that I'm gone, Julie. No, she was just gone with my dad traveling. There was no mom guilt. I never heard that term. And then as I got older and started having children and started raising children of my own, that term started to surface, this idea of mom guilt. So I believe it's a new phenomenon, and I believe it's something that we've made up. And I believe that if we've made it up, we can unmake it up. We can unmake it up. And we can say, no, that actually no longer applies to us in 2020. That actually has no weight, it has no bearing, and has no place in my life. And it's not the same as, well, my kids deserve a mom who works hard, and they need to see a mom who works hard, and this almost belligerent attitude towards it. No, humans need to see humans stepping into their greatness, understanding they have potential and possibility that lives within them, and sharing that with the world. Humans need to see humans doing that. And guess what? Children are humans, and guess what? Moms are humans. So we all need to see humans all over the world understanding that we have greatness that lives within us and potential and possibility that lives within us. And becoming a spouse or a mother does not preclude you also being a human. You are a human being first with goals and dreams and vision. And there's something that happens when women become moms that they forget that, and they believe in this made up, fabricated idea of mom guilt, and they use it to hold themselves back. Why? Because sometimes verbalizing and articulating the fact that you have a freaking dream can be scary. Why? Because we give weight to other people's opinions. I mean, this is a lot of unraveling to do. You give weight to other people's opinions, so you don't want to share your goals and your dreams, so you use this veil, this fabricated concept of mom guilt to not step into your own potential, to not pursue your goals and dreams, because you're so afraid of what other people might think, when 95% of the time the other people aren't thinking about you, they're thinking about them. So then you're also using what you are afraid other people might think to hold you back. And again, I have to say this because I want to be so clear that when I'm sharing this, it's because I've lived it. I've wasted time thinking about other people's opinions. I've wasted time feeling guilty about whatever. I've wasted time in my life, and if I can shorten the learning curve for any other female, I really, really want to do that. Because when we buy into this fabricated idea of mom guilt, all we're doing is telling our children that our goals and dreams don't matter. And if they're a daughter watching a mom do that, they can interpret that as, oh, well, if my mom's goals and dreams don't matter, if I become a mom, my goals and dreams don't matter. Do you want your daughters to feel that way? Because I know I didn't. So that meant I needed to go after my goals and dreams. I need to go after my goals and dreams on a daily basis. And I guarantee you that my children know what my goals and dreams are, because they're written on a whiteboard in my office where everyone can see. When they walk in my office, they can see what I want to do. And they know that has a direct correlation to the kind of life that they lead. How freaking cool is that? The idea of mom guilt is a fabricated mindset. It's a concept that we have made up. On this Tuesday, hashtag Transformation Tuesday, I encourage you, use it as a day to transform your mind, a day to transform how you think about what you do as a mom, and to remember that you are a human person with goals and dreams long before you are anything else. And becoming a spouse or a mother does not mean those goals and dreams disappear. You may have put them in a box and put them down inside you, but that does not mean they have disappeared. They are there. And if they are living in you, the world needs to see them, because who knows what change you might bring? Who knows what ripple effect you might cause by stepping into your greatness, by stepping into your potential. And you are doing no one, especially your family, you are doing no one, especially your children, any favors by buying into this idea of mom guilt as a fabricated, made up concept. You are going to dismiss it because this is 2020, and there's nothing to feel guilty about when you are building a business, when you are pursuing goals and dreams, when you are creating a life that makes a difference for your family and maybe for the world. There's nothing to feel guilty about that. You are giving gifts for a reason. Dig into them, use them. The world probably needs them, but most of all, your family needs to see you use them. So this whole idea of mom guilt, 2020, baby, we don't buy into it anymore. Have a great Tuesday.